It's about time to get fired up. It's been a long week. A lot of the Chiefs are fired up. We know you are. We're going to tell you why, how, when, and where is going to happen against the Patriots. Do the Chiefs get this run started? Because it is not just one game by any means. It's at least a foursome here. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. He's going to tell you exactly why I'm crazy and you're right and what they should do next. I mean, it depends on the topic, right, of why. But
yeah, it really depends on the topic.
For me, like, I seriously want to do like the cliche and like dumb it down. Just one game at a time. Forget all the drama from last time. Obviously, learn your lesson, get lined up rightly. But then, like, let's not think ahead to the run as much as first step forward, beat the Patriots. Beat them convincingly. Give yourself some freaking confidence again is what I'm looking for. What's the most important thing for you for this game?
Honestly, I think it's going back to the Bills game and using the fire, like unlocking the fire that they played with from the second really on into the fourth quarter. They played with much more fire, some reckless abandon times. Again, fighting a little bit with your coaches, with your teammates, maybe keeping it to a dull roar at times. But at the same time, that energy is what they desperately needed to get off the mat in that game. And earlier in the season, it was they couldn't finish games in the second half. And right now it's they can't get going to start a game. There's so many different things that the Chiefs have just gotten in their own way. Again, whether it's the whether it's turnovers, penalties, they can't start off a game. They can't finish a game. It's always something. Let's cut the excuses out. Yep. No more. Like this, again, this like just like the title, guys, no more excuses. They've done every which way, up, down, left, right, that it is to lose a game. It's time to end this nonsense and get that back on track.
Excuses will bite you. They got a guy fired in Los Angeles today.
Absolutely did.
Welcome to the AFC West, people. You got to get rid of him. You got to cut him out of the system, and you got to move on. That's all there is to it, because we've been hearing all season, hey, we're going to get this right. Everything's cool. There's nothing to see here. Nothing is effed, bro. We're all good. You're not. Figure it out. Get your stuff going. Meek, you're right. The fire has to be lit like right now. Honestly, it should have been 3 weeks ago. But like now, there's no more time. You have to let that fire burn, because if you figure it out, say in 2 weeks, you might be able to squeeze out a win in playoffs. If you don't have it rolling by then, it's hard to see you making a championship game, let alone a Super Bowl. You got to start right now. All the pedal gas, no brakes, go for broke. That's kind of where it's at.
And that's exactly like you kind of need a month to get on a hot streak for a team that's playing like the Chiefs are playing. You need to build up to it. You also just have to figure out your nonsense. You know, right now the team is full of nonsense, whether it's penalties or shooting themselves in the foot, tipped ball interceptions. It's just they're playing with a bunch of nonsense and they're losing games by one score. Like, that's got to be the most infuriating thing. Go back to last year. They won these one-score games, okay? Now, a lot of people are going to point to the attrition or regression to the mean. I don't buy any of that stuff, specifically because these are things that the Chiefs could have controlled. This wasn't like, not all of these are fluky interceptions where, it bounced off someone's helmet and into someone's hand. Like, that's not what this is. These are things that the Chiefs themselves can control and should have been able to control the outcome of. So this is different than what they've ever had to deal with under Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. It's a completely different feel. And personally, I love the way that the coaches handled it this week. I know a lot of stuff has been talked about in terms of Matt Nagy is not holding this team accountable. They do it in a different way. And I think that's an important measure, because while I don't disagree that, Eric Bieniemy brought that different kind of, I'm going to yell at you in your face and you're going to get it right. Matt Nagy's also really true when he says not everyone responds well to that. And especially with guys like Sky Moore, young players that are trying to kind of get out of their own way too and get on the right track, you can kind of break or sever that tie you have if you're overly aggressive at times with the younger players. And I think that Eric Bieniemy did a really good job of handling the veterans, and he was really good at that. And I'm not saying that he can't handle younger players, but it's a different feel. So we're gonna find out down the stretch here if this team can hold players accountable and learn from their mistakes. I'm just gonna say one more thing. Justin Watson came out earlier this week and talked about how they were watching tape with the quarterback, so it was so much easier to find out what he wanted.
Why now?
It's week 15, guys.
Right?
It's week 15. I
You
just
do that in
want
camp.
you guys. And again, I'm trying not to pile because but why? Why? Okay. That's all I got.
It's tough. All right. That's our focus without, digging a hole. We're going to answer some of your questions, what you're looking for in this game. We're going to tell you what the keys are, who to watch for, and what could set this team on the right path towards a championship game and beyond. I really do believe that there's nothing preventing them from going back to the Super Bowl. Not a worry. And then once you're there, it's all on. I think they can beat anyone in this league still. They just got to play their perfect game to do it. And right now, I'm not sure they're capable of that. That's okay. It is what it is. Yeah. Latrell, I'm with you. I'm looking forward to it as well. We're going to run down all the details, but I want to get to our friends first that are helping us out, and that's over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the funnest way to get in the action. There's no way around it. You get a mystery pick'em special every time you sign up as a new customer. And we want to get you guys to get a taste of it. See what you like. We're trying to let you live vicariously through us. We're going to run down what we've been doing lately here in just a minute. But you get $100 deposit match. If you sign up, you put your $100 in there, they're going to give you $100 too. So you got that much to play with. It's playing games for free on them is basically the way that it comes down. You can use the link that's in the description. That's our personal code, or you can just go sign up and use the code RGR. Either way, you're going to get the same thing because that's the way that it works. They're going to help you out. And I'm going to show you guys what we've been up to because it took us a little bit. We're going to tell you, Underdog started with us earlier in the season. It took a minute or two, but we got rolling eventually. And what we have here is of the last 4 weeks that we've thrown down, we've won 3 out of 4. We're up like $1,200 and we lost one $20 bet. That's pretty good track record. And I give it all to you, Dad. This is your picks. I'm a little bit too wishful thinking in some of these.
You did last week. You got all 4 last week. You can't tell me that this is all me. You're handling yourself just well. I think we're doing a good job of figuring these teams out, though. I think that's what the big thing is. It's week 15 now. We've got a good handle on what we expect from teams, whether stuff is going to kind of impact some of these teams this week as well. So that's always something to keep an eye on. But I think right now we have a really good chemistry of understanding what these teams are going to do and kind of feeding through that.
I agree. And luckily this week, we actually get our own game that we can lay this all down on. So I'm pretty excited. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, hopefully make everybody's life that much easier to see the screen because this is really a walkthrough for you guys on how you do this. All you got to do is they're going to give you a fantasy output number. It's going to give you maybe yards in some situations, depends where you live. But all you pick is the higher or the lower of what they say the line is. And that's how you put an entry together. It'll take us 5 minutes. Dan and I talk a little bit, so we'll take a few more than that. But it is what it is. We got to start where we got to start, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Oh, yeah. I mean, let's be real. He hasn't broken 19 points in the last 2 games. We all know the reasons for that, but they've got him at 19.25 this week against a Patriots defense that is pretty solid. I wouldn't say they're as good as they have been in years past, but it's pretty solid. Where do you stand on 19.25?
Oh man, this is for me, this has to be a get-right game for the Chiefs offense. And I'm a little higher on the Patriots defense than you are personally, but with Christian Barmore probably not playing in this football game, there goes their best pressure player. He's their best, especially up the middle. That makes the interior three's job much easier. You're still going to have to worry about, Josh Uche and Keon White a little bit from the outside, who, I'm not as big on Keon White as a lot of people are. He fits Bill Belichick's system, but this has to be a get-right game for Patrick Mahomes. I can't imagine that he's just okay with
Hanging
how
out.
the offense has been performing. And I feel like this last month of the season, he's about to go on a tear. So I'm looking at this 19.25
Mhm.
fantasy points, and I'm going to go higher. I believe that Patrick is going to put a higher on this team and get at least 2+ touchdowns. He might even get one with his legs this week. I think
He
he's going
might.
to be, and he's going to be active.
I'm 100% with you. And mostly for me, the reasoning is that I think he's going to lock it up, and I think the interceptions are going away. You take those out, and that's a serious detriment to here. You can see against the Raiders, 300 yards, just under, and 2 touchdowns got him that number. So
Yeah.
I'm confident he can get that. Likewise, there's this Travis Kelce character who happens to play in this ball game.
Yeah.
He happens to be the focus of the offense that Bill Belichick always takes away the number one option. So this is a little bit more difficult. I personally feel like, especially when you look at his output lately, it's borderline. But all the last 3 games, personally, I think have not had the same coverage abilities that he's going to get with Duggar and everyone else on this defense. I think we got to go lower on this one. Am I wrong?
No, I don't think so. It's basic how the Patriots are going to attack. They want everyone else to beat you. They're not going to want Travis Kelce to beat you. And Bill Belichick is not a dumb defensive coach. Like, he knows that Travis is the one guy you got to take away. And plus, 3 straight games lower than 13.5 fantasy points. I think that continues this weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got to say. Okay, so we got 2 down. That leaves who pick us up the slack? Rashee Rice is the next guy on the offense. And obviously, he's had an up-and-coming routine here, scoring touchdowns, getting the targets. I think last week, for the first time, in getting more targets than Travis, that gives you a glimpse of what they have to do this week. So the question is 11.25 too much? Despite all that, where are you at?
Absolutely not. He's gotten nearly 30 targets over the last 3 weeks, almost 10 a game. We're talking about the number 1 receiver now in the Chiefs offense. Now, I think that they're going to attack those screens a bit more confidently than a lot of other defenses have, which I think is going to make him more viable in the yards after catch realm against the Patriots. That's one of the areas I think that Rashee can exploit against the Patriots, is that, yeah, they're a good tackling team, but I don't think they have a ton of team speed personally. Without Christian Gonzalez out there, you have some speed, but I mean, Rashee Rice is explosive. So I'm going to go higher on this one because we have, like I said, the targets are there and they're going to feed him the ball.
I like it. And once he gets past that first defender, I think like he's got everything he needs to go off. Now, this is always personally fun for me because my guy Zappy's going to be starting against the Chiefs. You guys know how I feel about Zappy, and you can tell right here. They're setting his line at just 10 points. He came close to doing that in a game against the Chargers where they lost 6-0. And he almost got that many fantasy points because he just needed it to come together. Now, going against the Chiefs defense is not a great opportunity for you to really elaborate on that. If they had this line at 15, I'd say no way. But at 10.35, I feel like this is probably doable. We'll talk about the next guy next, but there's going to be a question mark. Nick Bolton's back. Drew Tranquill seems to have passed out of the concussion protocol because he isn't on the list in terms of a designation for this ball game. That leaves some opportunity there for a guy who went off last week and actually connected with Zappy on a touchdown that I think is going to be pertinent. 2, I think he actually had. Where do you see Zappy? Because you're going to set the line here, not me.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine. So, I mean, look at specifically, we can look at Patrick's number last week. Like, that's not outside of the realm of possibilities. About 220 yards, a touchdown. If you don't throw a pick, even if you do, like, that's over the number. That's over 10 points. So I think that there's a really good chance this is more of a backdoor hire for Bailey Zappi. I'm not sure that the Patriots are going to be able to come out and put up a number, but they do have extended rest. That plays a part in this. They're coming off a Thursday night game, so they've had more time to prepare for what the Chiefs defense is going to do. So maybe they come out and he puts the number up a little early with the touchdown, and then it just kind of filters in the yards. So I think no matter what here, higher makes sense for Bailey Zappi.
Okay, I'm glad to hear you say it too. So that brings me to there's three other options. I'm not intrigued by any of them except for the guy who got double touchdown last
Yeah.
week from Bailey Zappi, and honestly is a guy that even Mac Jones connected with early in the season, and then they took him away. I don't know that the Chiefs are ready to take him away because of the linebacker injury situation and who's coming back and where. This feels like 5 points should be doable for Hunter Henry. Are you in agreement?
Feels like 3 catches should get it done, right? Like he should be 3 catches and doing it. And that seems like a reasonable place to attack the Chiefs, running backs and tight ends. So yeah, 5 points. I know he's done 0, 2, and then 17, but against this Chiefs defense, I think that's the difference. Even with Justin Reed, Hunter Henry's a big guy, and Reed's been known to give up points to tight ends. So yeah, I'm with you.
And bottom line, folks, this isn't trying to say that the defense isn't going to show up this game. I think
no.
But even when they play well, there's a tight end going to get something in there, right?
Fantasy points are different than defensive success, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we have our 5 entries, and so this is the fun part is we get to choose how much we want to bet. I want to go a little bit higher here and take a shot at getting a grand out of it. You want to do more than that, or am I being chintzy here?
I'm good with that. I think that's a good number to go to. We're doing well, so let's kind of press our luck a little bit more and see what we can get.
Yeah, why not? So, folks, this is the way that it works. You can earn up to 20 times your bet here. I'm going to put in 50. We can walk away with 1,000 if all of our guys hit, and we're pretty confident in it. So we're gonna confirm that right now, and we are in the books with what is going to happen at Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you go check it out over at underdogfantasy.com. The link's in the description. You can just go to the site and use our code RGR for that as well. I think you guys will dig it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do with it. So next up is where do we go from here? Who are the guys that you want to focus on that have a matchup that you like? Have you gotten to the matchup portion yet?
Yeah, so Ollie's not going to like this. I know Ollie doesn't believe Kadarius Toney belongs on an NFL roster, but Kadarius Toney, in my opinion, is vital to the Chiefs' offensive success this season. And if you guys went back and watched the film room that I did on Wednesday, it highlighted all of the different ways that the Chiefs' offense utilized Kadarius Toney and how multiple it makes them. There was a play where Travis Kelce caught a big bender on the outside, his sail route, that corner route that he ran, and they put Kadarius Toney from out wide into the backfield, turning 12 personnel into 22 pseudo 22 personnel. And since he's kind of being used in the Deebo Samuel role, honestly, that's exactly what the Chiefs should be doing. He should be running overs. He should be running those little just space routes, like hitch routes when you got some separation like they did against the Bills, handing the ball every now and then, get him touches. Because I do think that over time, we're going to see the mental errors fixed. You're going to see a drop every now and then, which is fine. After this week, I can guarantee you he will not be lining up wrong ever again. I think that's going to be something it's been hammered into his head over the past week. But he makes them multiple. And that's something this Chiefs team has been lacking without a more of involvement from Kadarius Toney this past season. This last week was his highest snap count outside of week 1. And we know that week 1, he was open all the time. He was used more in this game. And I think that it's one of the biggest ways that they can free up Rashee Rice. They can free up the run game a little bit. When you can use him in the backfield and get like a 10-yard gain out of him, you can RPO him, you can move him around, and you can do so many different things with him that creates defensive gravity. And that's a big thing. He's not a true wide receiver in the sense that he's going to create a ton of separation against man coverage and always get open. But within the scheme, he's a chess piece. And those chess pieces are very important to the success of how everybody else performs. So for me, Kadarius Toney against the New England Patriots defense is a chess piece that you can't afford not to get involved.
I like it. And I like your comparison to Deebo. Certainly not as robust physically, right?
Correct.
But can get his motor running the same ways. And I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised with what he did out of the backfield. I don't know that I want to make it a big habit, but it's certainly a way to get him going, right?
Yeah, I thought that they did a good job of earlier when he was being hurt, and when he was hurt and he was doing punt return and running back and wide receiver. I'm like, just stick to it. But I think going back to what they've done with him, I've reevaluated, and he can be used in this Debo role. Debo's going to run guys over. Like he's more of a I'm going to beat you that way, and then I'm going to run by you. And I think that his vision is much better than I anticipated it, being in between the tackles. And then the way he got out of the hit, it was so unique. He dove forward but down, where he just like sunk his hips and got underneath the blow and was able to just do. That's the unique difference between him and like a Deebo Samuel. He doesn't have that twitch to him, like to be able to get down and move his body that way. But the way that Kadarius moves, I think that the Chiefs desperately need.
It's got to be something. And I feel like he's just starting to harness it. It's those kind of like heady ways that he can use his ability. That's something we haven't seen from the past. It's just I'm going to dance and cut a couple of juke moves and hope somebody misses, right? But that was actually functional to avoid taking the pounding that he's going to take. At this point, I feel like they've been saving all season for the postseason. I don't care. It's go time now to get to the postseason to give yourself a chance to win championship. You got to use him now, and I like that they're doing that. So just wanted to pause here and give Dave Perez a shout out. Everybody say hi to Dave, one of our original members, a long time here on this channel. Dave, nice to see you, buddy. I don't think I've seen your name pop up in quite a while, so I am glad that you are here. We're going to get to your questions. Ozzy's got a bunch of them, so I want some more from somebody else, or Ozzy's going to manipulate this entire stream, and I'm okay with that, Oz. So the pearl clutching by the national media because Kelce told him to shut up about it, and the skill position players is so embarrassing. It's not even embarrassing to the point that it's just like, oh, maybe you guys shouldn't go out on limbs when you don't know what you're talking about. This whole thing about the last minute, he was warned, but nobody told him. No, that's not a warning then. If you don't tell the player, that's not a warning. Andy Reid came out specifically, he was never warned. So shut up.
My favorite thing was them saying that he was, asking Kadarius. She was like, yeah, I know that yesterday I was told that I was warned, but I never got told in the game. Like, that's my favorite thing. My favorite thing that I think he's ever said. He's like, yeah, they told me yesterday that I got warned, but I never got warned. Like, you want the referees are coming to people after a game and say, we warned you. Oh, no, you didn't. That's just so funny. And I've got to walk back some of my comments after game too. Like, I think that I was talking about benching Kadarius Toney. I'm completely on the opposite train of that right now. So again, after games, even myself, I tend to be a little bit emotional at times, and that can override logical thinking. That's why we do the film breakdowns. That's why I wait, to do them until Wednesday so I can evaluate. And now we're here on Friday to have a real opinion. So we all do it, and opinions are okay to change, guys. Like, that's okay to have differing opinions. And I don't blame anybody for thinking that Kadarius should be benched. Like, I understand that. I absolutely do. Personally, I think it's more important for their offense that he's involved as heavily, if not more, than he was against the Bills.
Here's the thing for me. He provides part of the ceiling. If they're going to elevate against playoff caliber teams, they need Rashee to take a step forward, and they need Kadarius Toney. He also, unfortunately, has a tendency to lower the floor. So if he stops screwing up, we're going to be okay. But you can get both in one player. So I like that you do that.
Team this year, they've just all been lowering the floor for themselves.
And if you guys want to hear all the emotional stuff, you can get the rants and all of our behind-the-scenes things that we don't necessarily blow off all the steam in public. You can get those in the memberships. A lot of folks been coming over there. The first level is just so that you're in the live streams and you get those the bennies there. If you want the extra content, you go up to the rookie level. And then once you're at the rookie level, we're going to do something special here in the postseason. We're going to watch and live stream some games in a way that I can actually do them in the way that I want, that provides you quality at the same time. So we're going to do them as member streams. So one of the benefits at the starter level is the streams that we're all on there together. We may drop that down for the rookies, but everybody go get signed up if you want to. Appreciate you, Oz. I know you've been signed up in the past. FLTB is signed up. Obviously, Dave is. We're going to keep going with your questions. We're not going to go super long today. So if you have one, throw your super chats or your questions in there, and we will get to them all. How much of a difference does McKinnon getting healthy and coming back make? He was a massive at the end of the season. I think he could be just as big, if not more now.
No, I don't disagree with that. I don't think he's going to score the touchdowns that he scored last year. But the difference will be it's another player that you can trust in high leverage situations. And he's an incredible pass blocker. Like he's the best pass blocker of all the running backs the Chiefs have on their team. I think that Clyde's gotten a bit better at that. Pacheco is more up and down. He'll have a good snap and he'll have a really bad one. But at the end of the day, he's a calming force. He's a force multiplier as well. When you have some stunt problems on your offensive line, which the Chiefs do, you're going to see some stunts from Bill Belichick this weekend. I promise you that you will.
Oh yeah.
Jerick McKinnon brings a steadying force to that. He's in there and he can come up against some of these guys. So Jerick McKinnon is a force multiplier for the offense as well in a completely different way. He'll catch the football. He's going to get you a first down. He's not going to pull away from anybody anymore unless he's in the clear. But reliable, steady pass blocker. And he and Clyde Edwards-Helaire last week were very good. They were really good together. And I think that's a good place to start right now without Isaiah Pacheco for one more week.
And I would say that McKinnon is a little bit more of his direct influence, whereas I think Clyde read his line better. I agree. Better, you know what I mean? I think of the two, McKinnon's still the creator more. But as you can see here, I put this up because Jerick's been a full participant all week, and I wanted everybody to get a look at that. Isaiah, obviously not, did have another procedure on the shoulder. Andy called it a cleanup this morning. That's intriguing, and we'll talk more about that when we see if he gets back. The scary thing for Isaiah Pacheco is that could turn into something long-term is what I'm concerned about. So we'll keep an eye on that. Other than that, he's going to be out. Donovan Smith's going to be out. Everybody else was able to practice in varying degrees. And that includes Mike Edwards, who was the last guy that had an illness who got back today. I think Leo's going to be fine. Mike Edwards is still there. He was a full participant in the walkthrough. And remember, a Friday practice, folks, is, it's a, hey, you go here, you do this. This is walking and directing and pointing. You might as well be taking a tour at Disneyland in terms of the effort that it takes. But it's still participation. So that means everybody could be viable there. You can see down here, the only one who wasn't was listed as doubtful was Justin Ross. Later, Andy did clarify that they're going to leave him on the exempt list one more week. So he will not be playing this week. So you're not going to see Ross contribute yet. We'll see what happens coming up here. Want to get to Meek's got a super chat in there. We're going to get to you in a second, Meek. Let me get this thing off of the screen because, I like to dink around. FLW last week, I needed 7 yards from Jordan Love to win $200. Dang, that's tough, dude.
I lost out on my fantasy football playoffs because by 2 points from season totals, by the way. This was season totals. Ooh. We had a tied record, and I lost by 2 points because Jordan Love couldn't put up numbers against the New York Giants defense. He couldn't do anything. I am with you, FLDB. I am so mad about that game.
Dude. Oh, yeah. And that's why it's fantasy sports. We can't control the outcome ourselves. It sucks. Cody, hope you're doing well, buddy. And we're going to get back to that idea we had in the offseason. I'm actually going to be home for Christmas. So, folks, if you guys want to do a meetup or something, it worked really well for Cody and I last time we went down to Casey Bierko. So maybe we can do that again. With Pacheco having surgery again, does it mean more wide receiver in the backfield? In other than Kadarius Toney, I don't think so. But as far as what we were talking about for Kadarius, yeah, but I really feel like the screen game's got to be emphasized this week. It worked very well last week, and I think that's all Clyde. For the most part, that's Clyde. McKinnon can do it. But I think what you do now is you elevate what you did with McKinnon last week, and you get him on some more arrows and certainly some more wheels, I think, will be effective against this defense that may be strong in the middle, but I think on the edges you can attack it.
There was a play the Chiefs ran against the Bills. It's called wipe. It's where they block down with your guard. They pull center around. It's basically zone, but a different way to create space. And it looks just like outside zone, except you got the center pulling. And the Chiefs had this bubble screen to the opposite side of it with Rashee Rice and two guys blocking out. This is the exact kind of game to use those formations and those different types of plays repeatedly. Yep. You bring out the exact same formation. One time you throw the screen. The other time you run wipe, or you do something different. You play action off of this. This is the game. The Patriots defense has allowed negative 40 yards before contact against the run since week 12.
Wow.
So they are getting in the backfield and they are forcing contact to running backs early. What do you think works about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and pressure in the backfield when he's trying to run? It doesn't work. You need to get him into space. So I think you'll see duo. I think you'll see wipe. I think you'll see a good amount of these interior runs where the Chiefs have identified that's what they're good at. And then they'll mix in these RPOs and these different things to kind of keep the Patriots defense on edge, whether they're going to run the ball up the middle or throw it to the edges in any which way, shape, or form. That play, I shared it. No one liked it. No one cared about it, but it was such a nice play to watch the Chiefs execute. It was nice. It was a really nice play. So that's something that we're seeing the Chiefs get creative with. That was it was a creative play call, and they're adapting some of these concepts from other offenses. The Eagles ran wipe last year. The 49ers run it. The Chiefs are starting to pick some things out here and incorporate it into their offense. So you're going to see Kadarius Toney in the backfield probably 2 or 3 times. Whether he takes a snap, doesn't really matter, but he's also become a good flat option for them as well. There was a play where he got checked down in the flat, created a first down out of it, and he also made 2 Bills defenders hit each other because he made a miss. Like, that's something that you can get out of Kadarius Toney in the flat. So yeah, you're not going to see a lot more receivers. You will see him though.
Yeah, I like it. In terms of how you go about using those wide receivers, I do want to put out the guy that I'm attacking. He lines up on the left-hand side of the defense, so that's the right-hand wide receiver. I want Rashee Rice playing from the right-hand side all game long because J.C. Jackson is susceptible, and I would pepper him and attack him
he playing
all day. Evidently, if we look at New England's report, it looks like he doesn't have a designation. So I got to think that that's the way that it's going. We'll find out. But if he is, all day long I put Rashee Rice on him just to body him up on plays that he doesn't get the ball, and he will have opportunities against it.
Him and Kadarius Toney, speed, physicality, and then quickness. I don't think he can guard either one of those players myself.
Agreed. It will be ugly. Thanks, Cody. Appreciate you. Meek, thank you, buddy. How about a $5,000 deduction per drop incentive? I like that. Unfortunately, the contract signed, it would have had to have been in there earlier. You can certainly institute some fines for this. So I would not be surprised if that doesn't come in. And honestly, sometimes, like Dan said, some players you can yell at, some people you can't. Sometimes you just got to find the hell out of them because it's just about the bottom line sometimes.
Got to figure it out, man. And I'll be honest, a lot of people said that I think Kadarius Toney's been kept under wraps. I think he's done a good job in the locker room. Players seem to like him. He hasn't been on Twitter. He hasn't been doing a ton of stuff on social media. I know he posted to his Instagram about the onside, offside nonsense. But for the majority, he's been quiet. And when talking to the media, I think he's done a pretty good job. So yeah, I'll do the same thing because we don't ruin anything here. But
yeah.
I think Kansas City has been a good influence on him.
I agree, and I hope that it stays that way. Thanks, Meek. Appreciate your support, pal. Same thing with you, Chris. Thank you very much for the 25 spot. Happy holidays, buddy. We're winning out, backdooring the #1 seed, and beating Brock in Vegas. Book it. I like it. Deep breath, fans. We got this, Chris. I like your optimism, and I appreciate you putting it out there.
Absolutely.
Man, it goes a long, long way. I have to tell you.
It's the season of believing, right, guys? Like, this is 10 days until Christmas. Like, this is the time where I think everyone needs to take a collective deep breath and start to believe in the team again. Because I have to agree. I think they're going to figure this out. It is a month of teams that they should use to get right. They have to do it. And it's not like Ryan was talking about earlier. It's not looking at the slate. It's that one team at a time mentality. As cliche as it is, you do need to not look ahead. I think the Chiefs have gotten a little bit ahead of themselves. They were like, we're in this position. They've lost now 4 out of the last 6 games. It was a tough stretch for them. I didn't think Green Bay was going to be as tough as they were, but I don't think that the Chiefs got up for that game. It didn't feel like they were mentally in it, like they were looking ahead to the Buffalo game. So there's no more, like I said, no more excuses. It's time to put what you have out there week in, week out, one game at a time. It's as simple as that. Treat it like the playoffs, because from here on out, pretty much is.
Yeah. Baltimore's got a couple of tough games. They got the Niners. They got the Dolphins. They also have
playing the Jags this week.
Exactly. The Jags are up and down. You never know with them. So if they take them like the Chiefs have taken some teams lately, you could get a win out of the Jags. So it is not that far-fetched. So, Chris?
I have the Jags winning this weekend, to be very honest with you. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to come off of that loss and be throwing the ball all over the yard against the Baltimore Ravens.
I'd appreciate that, because I'm down to the wire in the fantasy thing, and I got him and Calvin going up against the pair. So, Chris, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the membership and for being on the positive side, brother. Appreciate you. Ozzy, what do you got? How did you feel about the formation with Kelce and KT in the backfield with Pat? I want to see more of that. Yeah, the full backfield look is something that I love. I kind of wish it was, Chris Jones back there. Turk Wharton as a fullback. I mean, come on.
It's never going to be. They're never going to use Chris Jones.
Goal line.
I don't, for whatever reason, I don't know why they won't do it. They did it with Dontari Poe, but they didn't do it. If they didn't do it with Colin Saunders, Andy's not doing it again.
And why would you? Yeah, right.
Andy's not doing it again. I liked motioning KT into the H-back role personally as the fullback with him and McKinnon. I liked that a lot. There's so many different unique things you can do with that, and hitting Kelce on the big route is going to open things up. That play, look for that same formation, but them to run a different play out of it, or hand the ball off to Kadarius or McKinnon, or run more play action out of that. That's something they can really get crazy with.
I mean, you do pin pull with Kelce as the lead blocker with Kadarius back there. I mean, I know we don't want him as a running back, but hell, that's 20 yards for the taking. Like, yes, I'll take that twice on Sunday. Thank you very much. Good point, Ozzy. We hope so. Yeah. Prime time. Thanks for the comment. Appreciate you. The wide receiver snap kind of starting to head in the right direction. At least you're right, and we just got to see that continue to double down. If you're going to put weight on Kadarius Toney, I think you're making a mistake. I think they've proven that they're willing, and I think he's responded in putting that weight on Rashee Rice. Again, for the first time last week, out targeting Travis Kelce. That is the right thing to do. This whole thing where Justin Watson doesn't get targeted at all and MVS got to, I think that's unfortunately also the thing to do. But I want to see more.
Justin Watson caught a pass. He did catch a pass.
One. It was his only target, right? Yeah. And I'm fine with that. Give him a shot. But I think Richie James ought to get more targets. I think you got to try to put Sky back in and get him going. I mean, for the love of God. And then remember, McCole had thumb surgery done. He will be back before this season's over. And then, as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to run deep stretch routes, it's the only thing McColl's excellent at anyway. Just let him do it. And I don't care that he's going to have to deal with getting jammed at the line. Let him take some of those snaps from MVS and be the guy that stretches the field.
Like if Harbin comes back, just put him and MVS on opposite sides and just run scissors. Run scissors and then flood everyone else underneath. Someone will be open. I promise you. Somebody will be open. Just let him run deep.
Ozzy, you're right. I've totally forgot about that. They did put Colin back there once, and somebody did something wrong. I don't remember.
But one time.
Yeah, exactly.
They had him out playing linebacker before they would actually really use him as a fullback.
I love that guy.
I do too.
I hope when he decides to leave the Saints, he comes back. I would love to see that. That's just, good Lord. It's a fat guy's dream.
They need him.
All right. We are down to it, Dan.
Yep.
I'm gonna have you go first because I'm a broken record with what do you see happening?
All right. This is, again, the opportunity for the Chiefs to lock in. Business trip. They're going into, this is away, right? Like I'm not mistaken. This is
Oh, yeah.
New England, going into New England. You have to make a statement. This is not going to be an easy football game to win just because they're one of the worst teams in football. Their defense, again, is playing excellent football the last month, averaging 13 points a game given up. That's nothing to sneeze at, guys. And this Chiefs offense, the way they have played, not scoring 20 points in 3 straight games, or excuse me, 2 straight games, 3 out of the last 4. That's not the position to be in against a Bill Belichick defense. It's time to execute. I don't think they're going to blow the roof off at all, because I respect this defense a lot. I don't respect their offense. Their offense is a dumpster fire. They're not good. And I know Ryan likes Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi is a bad quarterback, and they should be able to get multiple interceptions and sacks and all this kind of stuff. And still like him to get that higher than 10 points with all of that said. So this is going to be a confidence booster. I think the Chiefs win handily 24-10. And that again, they probably score a late field goal. I don't think this goes over 30 for the Chiefs. I think 24 is a reasonable number, and Pat gets 3 touchdowns.
I like most of where you're going there. I don't like the Bailey slander, but that's okay. Plenty of front offices have differing opinions. Bottom line is, this is a bottom 3 team, not a spank. It's an opportunity for you to figure yourself out, and they need to do that. I actually have higher hopes for Bailey than Dan does. That's okay. Whether he gets there or not, we're going to have to see. Can he put a back-to-back performance? I think he has a shot, given where the Chiefs are and the fact that he's got a couple of players that have some decent matchups. I don't think it's going to be gross, but I do think that they break 10 points. So right now, I see a 27-17 Chiefs, with really it probably being 27-10 when the last touchdown is scored for the Patriots and they get something late. But that said, it's got to come down to taking care of business. It's not that it's a business trip and you should win. It's you have to do it and prove to me that you're serious week in, week out, not just on the defensive side, but particularly on the offensive side. And honestly, for the coaches, you have to manage your players better. You can't let them make mental mistakes anymore. You have to hold them accountable, and I hope that we see this. So that said, I have it a 10-point win at 27. Last comment here we have from Vander Shadows. I like saying it that way. It's Friday. I'm glad I was here for another live show. I am too. Thanks for doing it.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for all the great work as always. I always enjoy you guys through the week. Thanks, RGR, for all the content. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank Dan, because he's doing a lot of the content these days. I'm just throwing opinions out.
I mean, Ryan does a lot more behind the scenes than anybody will ever know. So, yeah, my face is out there a little bit more. I did a show with Taylor Kyles yesterday covering the Patriots game, so that was fun. Yeah, we're doing the face out there, but at the end of the day, this is not done by any one person, and it's mostly done by you guys, the fans. So thank you all for being here with us every single week, every single day, with all the content that we do. We appreciate it.
Callie, you're in the house. Good job, buddy. Nice to see you. It's shout out time. So if you guys haven't been seeing this, go check out Bleacher Report, because Dan's been on a lot lately, and you're going to see him in the future. But in January, you're going back, right?
Yeah, the ones from this past month were on exclusive to the Bleacher Report app. So you can find all of our stuff. Myself and Sterling Holmes, we have a couple of shows from the past 2 weeks over there on the Bleacher Report app underneath the Chiefs section. So you can find it all there.
Chris, you are awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
It's been 5 memberships out to folks. We
Woo!
appreciate that.
We've been getting a lot of gifted subs with the holiday season rolling around. You guys are awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys. That's awesome. I love it.
It's incredible to see. You are the man, as Ozzy
Hey,
said.
Dr. Ozzy got one. Let's go. Yeah, Ozzy. That's what I like to see.
And we're going to keep cooking things up for those memberships, including the playoff runs, when we're just going to watch some games. I got to concentrate on the Chiefs games. So we'll do some non-Chiefs playoff games that we'll walk you through, and we'll do live in the members. But another piece of business, Sunday morning, as you guys get ready, if you're going about your day and you want a little extra dose, I'm going to be on Fox 4 on the KC End Zone show with John Holt. You can see me live. I won't be live on TV. I taped it today, but it'll be on TV Sunday morning on Channel 4 in KC. So check that out. Other than that, like, sub, hit the bell. This is a a subscriber show. There's probably not many of you that are watching this that aren't subscribers already, but hey, subscribe if you're not. Check it out. This is where it all gets started. This is the run to the playoffs. It should start. It has to start. Good Lord, it better start, or it's going to be hell around here. So, hey, Chris, thank you for putting it that way. It certainly is a village, and we definitely appreciate you. It does take a village to keep yourself right and stay on the straight and narrow when things aren't going perfect. So, listen to Dan. Check out everything that he's doing, fantasy football as well, because it is championship weekend. I'm hopeful, but I'm not confident.
Yeah, I'm not too optimistic on some of my matchups here either.
It's going to be what it is. All right. You all have a great day and a good weekend. We will talk to you live post-game. We'll be a little bit delayed as we'll do Locked On Chiefs first for me, and then we'll jump in here. So make sure you're around. Hopefully we'll be celebrating a win. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you then.